picturesque scenes as we look out over the St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia Big Club grounds. There's a few clouds gathering over the horizon as we watch over this ground here. The coconut trees blowing in the wind in the background and the boys warming up in the foreground. It's going to be an all-important battle for the Lady Jayatilaka Shield, and it's going to be a continuation after a long break of the 2019 season of the Singer Schools Rugby League. What an outstanding weekend it was to come back after the break. The Bradby really living up to its name as the blue ribbon of schools rugby with an outstanding game played by both Trinity and Royal. And this week we're expecting the same from these two teams, St. Thomas's and St. Joseph's. St. Thomas's lucky perhaps to escape with a draw against the fancied Isipatana side that came in last week against him, and St. Joseph's running out comfortable winners in their game last week as well, Abdullah. So mixed fortunes for both teams coming into this game, and it should be a momentum that takes Joes in as favourites.
Yes, good afternoon, Shanaka. Yes, it's going to be an interesting encounter because St. Thomas's generally have had a pretty good record here. They have managed to give a scare to most of the teams that have come here to play at Mount Lavinia as we have a look at today's weather conditions.
Not so hot today, actually. That's good to notice. And we have a bit of cloud cover as well. Really good conditions for rugby. It's an early kickoff at 4 p.m. or thereabouts, we are told. And the humidity factor is one that's going to come in later on in the game. The players are going to get a bit dehydrated. Look for this match to open up in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But the wind is going to be a factor. You can already see that 18 kilometers per hour wind. You can see it in those coconut trees when the ball goes up. And Santosh Algama is a kicking fly half for St. Joseph's. Has he had enough practice at this venue? Does he know this ground well enough? That's going to be one of the questions that's going to be answered in the next 70 minutes.
Absolutely, Shanak. And I think I'm sure he has the skills to adjust, but also having the awareness of how the wind is going to react at this ground. That is the key, and it's a ground that a lot of teams have come here and struggled to cope with those conditions. St. Joseph's unbeaten, the only unbeaten team thus far in this league, and will be hoping to try and put this game away, real potential banana skin as far as they are concerned. As we can see Santosh Algama with the kicking coach Dev Anand going through their routines, just getting a gauge of how the wind will be blowing. Place kicking could prove crucial in the final analysis of this game.
Certainly will be, and these two teams pretty evenly matched in the forwards, I would say. Abdullah, good forward packs, big forward packs as well for both teams. Very well drilled as well from Anuranga Walpola for the Josephians and Shamli Nawaz for the Thomians as well. They will be where the game is really contested, but where the game will probably be won and lost will be where the three quarters come in, and in that department St. Joseph's really have a big skill advantage, a big experience advantage also over these Thomians.
That's right. So it could come down to what quality ball the Josephian forwards are able to give their backs to run at this Thomian three-quarter line. Probably not one of the better three-quarter lines in schools rugby is the Thomian back line, but it could all depend on how well the Thomian forwards manage to control position. If they can starve St. Joseph's off that position as the game goes on, you could see the Josephians probably being under a bit more pressure.
And the frustration may try to creep in as well. That's what the Thomians will be hoping for, certainly. You're live on ThePapare.com and also on Dialogue TV in this game. We'll be back after the break.
දැන් යහ පෝෂා දන්නේ ඉරිඟු සහල් මුං සෝයා විතරක් නෙවෙයි කිරිත් එකතු කරලා. ඒ නිසා මා චේන්ජ් වුණා.
ලංකාවේ ළමයින්ගේ අලුත්ම සොයා ගැනීම. මේක රස එක. මැලිබන් යහපෝෂ රසයකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා.
හොඳම මැලිබන්තේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුනා. මැලිබන් පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසු වුණා
මැලිබන්ටේ පදමට කහට.
I have news. Let's meet.
To be a man is to sweat for every last inch of it. The harder you push yourself, the louder your body will protest. From sweat to grease, grease to dandruff. Fight back with Clear Men, 2 times the fighting power of ordinary shampoos. Beat grease, beat dandruff. Unbeatable performance for the unbeatable man. Power through the odds. Clear, zero dandruff, nothing to hide.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකික සැමගේ තේරීම no limit.
දැන් ගෝල්ඩියෝ බොඩි ස්ප්‍රේ හඳුන්වා දෙන අලුත් මාළුත් මාදිලි 4කින් බ්ලේස්, චැලෙන්ජ්, ස්ටෝම් සහ රේව්. අදම try කරන්න ගෝල්ඩියෝ බොඩි ස්ප්‍රේ පැය 24 පුරා.
When she's special, she's not just a girlfriend, she is your sweetheart. When you feel it, you don't just call it sunshine, you call it warmth. When you reveal your deepest emotions, it's not just art, it's freedom. And when its essence is premium cocoa butter, it's not just chocolate, it's Ravello. Chocolate so special, you call it Ravello.
Drift in search of happiness. Fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination.
සතුට බෙදන නම ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම සනසුම දෙන නම එය සිංහ නම මිහිර මවන නම අවස නිවන නම සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම එය සිංහ නම මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිංහ අද විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Are you or someone you care about prone to heart-related illnesses? You can now rest easy with Avid Heart. Avid Heart lets you get a medical-grade EKG anywhere, anytime. Save a life and give yourself or loved ones peace of mind. Approved by the National Medicines Regulatory Authority. Avid Heart. Heart health at your fingertips. Purchase your Avid Heart device today for just 23,909 rupees and get a free My Doctor Couples package. Available at selected Dialogue customer care centers island-wide. Dialogue. The future today.
මැලිබන් යාපෝෂ මේක රස එක රසයකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ පදම පරක්කු ඇයි
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා
හොඳම මැලිබන්ටේ
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසු වුණා මැලිබන්ටේ එක්ක අපේ දවස රස වුණා
පදම වරුනේ
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසු වුණා
මැලිබන්ටේ පදමට කහට.
Stumble upon a surprise. Fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination. ශ්‍රී ලාංකික සැමගේ තේරීම no limit.
Hello and welcome back to the St. Thomas's College Big Club Grounds. You're live on ThePapare.com and on Dialogue TV. We are bringing you the Singer Schools Rugby League 2019 back after a long break, a much-awaited resumption of the Schools Rugby League. And of course, we had the first week last week of the second round. And of course, the Trinity Royal clash was the biggest one there. Abdullah, former Royal College captain, you would have been pretty happy with the result last week in Papare.
Yes, it was a really good result for Royal, especially going up to Papare and getting a 17-point lead coming into Colombo. I'm sure most Royalists would have been very pleased with that result.
Channel number 77 on Dialogue TV. If you want to switch over, if you want to keep your data for something else, you can always watch us on Dialogue TV channel 77. Shamli Nawaz and Dion Dias having the last few discussions with the referee and of course his team. So just asking, sir, how are you going to blow this? How are you going to blow that? Those are the questions that will be asked, and the team sheet being looked up as well. Lots of fixtures coming up today. Science playing Royal. Royal will be happy for that downtime almost against a weakened Science College team that they will be hoping to put away, maybe test their bench strength as well. And then probably the match of the week is going to be St. Peter's taking on Trinity. And Trinity, how do they bounce back, Abdullah, from that loss against Royal? Will there be a mental and physical dip in their form? And Isipathana taking on Wesley. I'm looking for that game to be a nice, open, high-scoring game also.
Yeah, that's right. I think some very interesting games in addition to the one here at Mount Lavinia, that game between St. Peter's and Trinity as well. Another big test for that Trinity forward pack against a monster Peterite pack as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they cope with that in consecutive weeks. They were definitely outplayed against the Royal 8 up in Papare. As we have a look at the officials for today's game, Akil Jawaldeen will be taking control of the game.
Well, he blew this one as well, Abdullah, and I thought he had an excellent game despite being an old Royalist. No controversies, nobody's talking about the referee, which is always the best thing you can expect as a referee, for nobody to be talking about you. So that's exactly what he got when he blew the first leg of the Bradby. Unprecedented in recent times to have a player or an old boy from one of the two schools refereeing. Of course, we've had it in the past before, but nice to see. And this try from Samarasinghe was an absolute peach, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Wonderful talent. We were speaking about him, I think, in our pre-game show as well. Really stepped up to the plate, but at the end of the day, Royal just too good, dominating position and eventually ending up victors.
This was a game that Isipathana would probably have wanted to win, especially if they were going to climb up the ranks. But the forwards for St. Thomas's really bringing their game to the party and dominating up front and scoring a couple of tries, and Isipathana reliant on the boot of Manilka Rubeiro, who seemed to have mastered the wind, and he's turning out to be a real asset for Sri Lanka rugby, isn't he? As we saw Sakit Pereira sneaking over the blind side for a typical number 9 strike.
Yeah, that's right. Not the result I'm sure the Isipathanians would have been expecting. And also I think another thing where they would probably be really disappointed is the fact that they couldn't cross the St. Thomas's goal line. They had to rely on the boot of Rubeiro to keep them in that game.
Here's St. Peter's. And a pretty easy win for them in the end as well. Got some really good outside backs. Tenuka Nanayakkara scoring that try. And then a really good combination of forwards and backs. You've got the big boys running onto the ball straight, and these backs that can really evade good tackles.
Yeah, that's right. A really good all-round team is this Peterite team. They'll definitely be in contention for the league title as we have to look at the final scores. Royal ending up comfortable victors. Other than the Bradby would have done their hopes of the league title no harm, managing to get that bonus point as well comfortably. St. Peter's probably a bit scrappy, but managing to get the bonus point win as well. But the Isipathana lads will be very disappointed with that result. Huge dent in their title aspirations. So it'll be interesting to see how they will bounce beyond that.
This is the team just walking in. The Lady Jayadilika Shield, of course, one of the more glamorous trophies for both schools, has been contested for a long, long time. And it was Dinuk D.S. Vijayaratna's team that really changed fortunes in 1999 when they came in and won this trophy. And this season, St. Thomas's have played 6, won 3, lost 2. And one of those losses was to Royal, who are a form side. And also to Wesley, which was a game that they wouldn't have expected to lose, especially not at home. But they will be expecting to try and do a number here as well, and maybe just surprise. St. Thomas's has been one of those mid-table teams this year, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right. I think playing at home, they've really managed to make maximum use of the conditions as well, and surprised a lot of the teams that have come up here to Mount Lavinia. So it'll be interesting to see how well St. Joseph's just acclimatize and adjust to the conditions here in St. Thomas's.
St. Joseph's, the only unbeaten team in the competition so far. St. Thomas's will be looking to upset that statistic for them, but it looks like it's going to be unlikely, Abdullah. As you corrected me off air, St. Joseph's didn't play last week, so we only had the 3 fixtures. St. Joseph's versus Wesley was put back to next week. I believe they'll be playing on the 14th. So after a long break, they've had even a longer break, St. Joseph, so they haven't really had a hit out. So that may come into play this time, perhaps just a little bit of match fitness. Maybe that will play into St. Thomas's advantage. Here's the points table, of course. St. Peter's and Royal sitting pretty at the top, and we have St. Joseph's, who will be looking to overtake them because we have they've played 1 game less. Isipatana 6 games, and they've lost that last one to they've lost 2 already, and then drawing that 1 game didn't help their chances, and they'll be battling it out in mid-table with St. Thomas's for 4th and 5th place. Trinity, Wesley and Science look for those teams also to interchange in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, that's right. It's everything to lose for St. Joseph's really in this game. They've got to win and try and get that bonus point as well to just to stay up, because they'll be up against some formidable teams in the remaining rounds.
Top try scorer for the league so far, Gisha Kulatunga on the right wing for Trinity. Couldn't get a score last week, which will disappoint him. But the man who came to the rescue of Isipatana last week at this very ground, kicking over a last cast penalty to draw the game, Manilka Ruberu, outstanding with the ball in hand and the ball on the tee, 53 points so far.
It's a real find for Sri Lankan rugby. What a wonderful talent he's been. His work rate, his ability to put players into space has been a joy to behold this season, and he's always been at the center of everything good that Isipatana have done this season.
St. Thomas's College team card, Handun Padirana, De Silva and Shanuk Pereira form that big front row. Harit Senanayaga, the captain, Dunal Fernando, Shavan Dimel, Kavin Jayasekara in at number 7, Revanka Abewardhan, the big ball carrying number 8, Sakit Pereira starts at number 9, Basula Veerasinghe in at 10, Seshan Rajapaksa on one wing, Navishka Karunaratna and Sadak Ishak in the centres will be called upon to do a lot of defending today. Olugala and Chaturanga will be the other 2 back 3 players. Daniel, Tisera, Karyap, Kada, Siambala Petia, Dharmapriya, Sirivardhana, Pereira, Hettiarachi and Rakava will be the other St. Thomas's College players on the bench. And for St. Joseph's, we have Tiraka Santush, Tangaya and Gregory in another very big front row. Shehan Iranda and Cheka Jayawardhan, a lot of experience in that second row. Sadun Pereira and the captain Tarindudi Alves, who has been the best number 8 so far, I think, this season. Rashayan Gunawardhan, again, a lot of experience over Sakit Pereira in that number 9 jersey. How his combination with Algama will go will be a big factor in this game. Karuna Nayaka, Imesh Sisanayaka and Sudaraka Devapriya, and of course the danger man Tarindu Maduranga in the number 14 position today. Aaron Pereira mans the last line of defense. Pereira, Imesh, Vijayasekara, Senaratna, Abesekara, Anjana, lots of experience on the bench there as well. Eganayaka, Pereira, Rifan and Kavin Pereira will make up the St. Joseph's bench.
Yes, well, it'll be interesting to see how well that combination of 8, 9 and 10 for St. Joseph's, they're very much the linkmen and the playmakers. It depends on how well they manage to control the game and manage to create opportunities for the outside backs, especially Rashayan Gunawardhan has been really impressive. He's very intelligent, he's got a very high rugby IQ, reads the game extremely well, and his service from that base is going to be crucial how well St. Joseph's do today.
Absolutely, I think the game really links or rests on those key players for St. Joseph's as we wait for the school anthems to finish. Little disappointing that with the turnout today, Abdullah, lots of free spaces at the ground. Mount Lavinia is not the easiest place to come to, but a lot of the home crowd as well seem to have stayed away. I'm not sure whether many junior matches were played earlier on in the day.
Yeah, that's right. It's just the second week after a long break, so hopefully we've got a few minutes. Maybe the crowd is just waiting, looking for the places to park and rush onto the ground. Last minute crowd generally is probably waiting at the gates, and hopefully they will pack the stadiums in today, which no doubt is going to be a very, very interesting game of rugby.
Certainly will be, and we're happy to bring it to you on thepapare.com and of course channel 77 on the Dialogue TV platform. Singer League 2019. School anthems are done, and referee Akil Jamaldeen will take control. Those are some of the visiting fans here at St. Thomas's. No doubt they will be hoping their team will go to 6 games played, 6 games won. There are currently 5 games played, 5 games won. And Akil Jamaldeen is the kind of referee that allows the game to flow, Abdullah, which will be good. And he's also pretty good at the breakdown. And that was something we noticed. Ishan Kabekun, another very good up-and-coming referee on the left of Jamaldeen there. And Thirina Ratnayaka will be the assistant, the second assistant referee. Kavin Jayasekara at the top of your screen there in the Thomian jersey. A lot will be expected from him, whether he can rein in defense these hard-running Tarindudi Alvis and, of course, Santosh Algama, whether they can pressure him enough into making mistakes and stopping St. Joseph's.
Yeah, that's right. I think the key for St. Joseph's will be trying to get some good quality ball to their backs. I think that's where they definitely have the edge over this Thomian team. But the St. Thomas's pack, it's been very evident that they've got the ability to match any pack in the school's rugby arena. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they manage to control possession and try and disrupt and give as much back foot position to this Josephian team.
A correction, we'll be on live on channel 71. So if you've been looking for us on 77, you can just shift a few down and we'll be live on channel 71 with the Lady Jayatilaka Shield. St. Thomas's taking on St. Joseph's. St. Thomas's in the blue and black, of course, and St. Joseph's in the blue and white. Match to be kicked off there by number 30, Basula Veerasinghe. Taken competently by St. Joseph's, but driven back in a good tackle by the skipper, Senanayaka. Gunawardene. Carried back by Algama, and this is where he's so good, driving St. Joseph's all the way back. And looks like that ball might just go dead. Yes, it does. So they'll come all the way back into the 22 for a scrum down. So again, that's where Algama will need to read the wind. He didn't expect that ball to have as much legs on it, Abdullah.
Yes, and also I think he did the mistake by trying kicking it flat. Maybe giving it a bit more height would have helped his runners to put a bit more pressure, and maybe the ball wouldn't have gone as far as well. So that's what we're talking, Shanaka, pre-game, about how well the Josephians managed to adjust to the conditions here in Mount Lavinia, judging the wind, judging the ground, just making those little adjustments and basically being aware of it. I think that is just crucial to how well Josephians are going to play in this game.
Well, we've seen in the Cricket World Cup how much conditions can affect the teams, and you wonder whether that's the same in rugby, but yes, it is. And these are the little moments that may affect games as Sakit Pereira waits to feed. Don't miss out on the action of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. For news, photos, exclusive clips, updates and more, visit thepapare.com, CWC 19. That's a good scrum by St. Joseph's in defense. Revank Abewardene has it at the back, but Rashan Gunawardene is up very quickly to defend him. Abewardene does well to cross the gain line though, and Sakit Pereira now to Veerasinghe. That's a nice angle run by Sadak Ishaq, but St. Joseph's read that beautifully and right on top of the ball there. Navishka Karunaratha was the man who got the ball, but they read it all the way. And a good penalty won by the Josephian defense.
It's just an example of how crucial your number 13 is to your defensive system. Just amplified there. St. Thomas's spreading the ball wide, not having adequate players at the breakdown as Algama misses touch again. Seems to be struggling to adjust to these conditions here in Mount Lavinia. St. Thomas's counter-attacking, going into contact.
That was Ishak trying to run the ball back. Chaturanga bounced it a few times. Kavin Jayasekara, and now they've got an overlap on the outside. Here we go through Rajapaksa. Lovely ball inside. Rajapaksa again, still going, not held. Sakit Pereira, nice quick ball for Revanka Bewardena. Takes on the Josephian defenders. Good ball presentation by the young number 8 there, and Sakit Pereira gives it back out to Veerasinghe. Handun Patirana steps back inside. It's a good ball from the prop forward. They need quick ball this time. Sanjeeva Chaturanga. Good smash back in by Olugala, but the defense is good enough to bundle him into touch. So encouraging start from St. Thomas's, but St. Joseph's equal to the task of defense.
Yes, but again, the second error by Algama in consecutive kicks. Wasn't Chanaka seems he needs to try and probably rein in the distance he's going to until he just manages to adjust to these conditions here. Missing crucial touch, putting his team under pressure, and some good initiative shown by St. Thomas's to try and move the ball around.
This will be a Thangaya to throw in. And it's untidy, but Rashan Gunawardhan is good enough to make sure he gets this ball out. And here's Madhuranga. And that's a lovely fend, outstanding fend. Coming back infield, Chaturanga has to make a desperate tackle and does so in the end, but a 60-meter gain from St. Joseph's from a ball that went behind the player, was bouncing about on the try line, and that's the difference between the good teams and the average teams, Abdullah. Another team would have pounced on that. Royal would not have allowed St. Joseph's out of their 5-meter line, but that's exactly what St. Thomas's did, conceded 60 meters.
Yes, again, we've just seen how dangerous this Josephian back line can be. Madhuranga on that occasion, just bumping off his opposite number. Some good cover defense by the Thomian defensive unit, sparing them of any further damage.
Karuna Nayaka with a wonderful run down the left flank, and I think Chaturanga may have been a little lucky there. Didn't seem to be too many arms in that tackle. Seemed to have just gone in with his shoulder. And St. Thomas's can count themselves lucky that the AR and the referee didn't quite deem that as dangerous as it might have been.
Because if Madhuranga had looked in, there was support inside him as well. Just pinned his ears back and just seemed to want to go for the line. But maybe if he had looked for that inside pass, the story would have been very different.
Yes, that is Madhuranga actually on the left wing. Thanks, Abdullah. Karunanayaka is on the right wing despite wearing number 11. And St. Joseph's white numbers on a white hoop jersey. Commentators' curse. A curse for the commentators, I should say, rather than the commentators' curse, which is a completely different thing. That's the Lady Jayatilaka shield, which the rector of St. Joseph's, I'm sure, will be eyeing for the next 65 minutes. So the second scrum for the Thomians. Ball wasn't really hooked. Boring in, says referee Jamaluddin.
Yes, now we've had 2 set pieces thus far, Shanak, and you can see that the Josephians are really eager to get into this Thomian pack and apply pressure. But they need to do it very carefully because there is a specific rule since this is an under-19 tournament that you just can't go all-out driving. It's limited, I believe, to about 1 meter. So while they want to try and impose their dominance earlier on, they need to be mindful on how they go about it.
And just showed again Sakit Pereira's awareness of the conditions, managed to get decent touch. 1.5 meter scrum or 1.5 meter shove is allowed, but you've got to be really careful not to go early. Dunal at the top, and again a penalty coming, or should be coming, for St. Thomas's for manhandling the player in the air.
You can hold it while on there.
And looked like that was Eranda. That might have had his arms all over Dunal. Fernando. And 2 penalties in a row will take St. Thomas's close in towards the 22-meter line.
Jappa, make sure you don't catch a play.
And you can see Saket, the way he's kicking the ball, Shanak. He's giving the ball a lot of air. He's putting it up. He's not kicking it flat. So he's probably just got a better idea of the conditions here, and he's executing it much better.
Beautifully won by Harit Serenayaka there. Maul sacked though, according to the referee legally.
No, release, wait, release, wait. Roll away first.
Sakit Pereira now. Veerasinghe. Nice ball to Ishak. Ishak with 2-on-1.
Advantage high.
Good defense that time, but the referee might be saying it's a high tackle from Tharindu Maduranga.
Tackle.
And St. Thomas is hanging on to the ball. Handun Patirana tries to pass it. Oh, that's a lovely offload. Outstanding work from Revanka Abewardena there. Back of the hand offload. Fortunately, the player just was too surprised by the quality of the pass to do anything with it. And here it is again. Brilliant defense by St. Joseph's that time. Really thumping tackle.
Okay, advantage is over.
Advantage over, says the referee. He was playing advantage for the high tackle. And now St. Thomas's are in familiar terrain. This is the kind of game that they enjoy. But this is where Tharindu de Alves and his fellow back rowers will be looking to really poach this ball, pick their moment. And that's a good drive, good leg drive by the Thomians there. As the rain comes down here at Mount Lavinia, that'll only help this Thomian effort. Try and stuff this jersey up the jumper. Very close to the line now. Sakit Pereira calls for his forwards to come in and do the dirty grunt work here. They'd be wise not to move it from here, Abdullah. Wet ball. Good fringe defense that time by Nehan Pereira. Abewardena has carried strongly. Here's the ball though. They're going outside and it looks like they're over for the try. Yes, they are. And St. Thomas's did choose to move it and they just had enough numbers on the outside. And it looks like it's Olugala who has scored on the far touchline. And St. Thomas's have drawn first blood.
Yes, good patience shown by St. Thomas's. They managed to do a few hits on the in the short areas and then found space out wide. And the the Josephian defense became very narrow, creating space out wide, and a very well executed try, and just the start the Thomians would have wanted.
My apologies, that was Seshan Rajapaksa who scored the try. You can see Coach Shamli Nawaz happy about the start, giving some instructions to Kavin Jayasekara, as Basula Veerasinghe will try to knock over the extra points here. St. Joseph's will take a bit of time to get their measure of the conditions, get a measure of the rugby that St. Thomas has planned to play against them. But I wouldn't be too disappointed if I was a Josephian supporter. There's a lot more time in this game. And the kick is wide across the face of the post, so it's 5 points to 0. Conversions haven't been a big thing this season. There are not really high-quality kickers apart from Ruberu.
Yeah, that's right. It's been, in terms of place kicking, pretty disappointing, isn't it, overall? We haven't seen any exceptional performances with the boot. As we have a look at that again, St. Thomas's doing well, showing good patience, the wonderful offload, and eventually deciding to spread the ball wide. And Maduranga just not able to stop his opposite number going over for that try.
St. Thomas's did their best to try and keep our hearts in our mouths there. The passing was pretty tentative, although Olugala did have acres of space to, or Seshan Rajapaksa rather, did have acres of space to run into. Chaturanga's pass could just have been a little bit further in front of him, but that back of the hand offload in the lead up from Abewardena to Senanayaka really was what created the space and really set the cat among the defensive pigeons. Nice defensive work there from St. Thomas's in their line-out. Choosing to run it out of their 22 is Dimel, is the man who's entrusted with that job. Little spin in the middle of the field by Pereira. Here's Kavin Jayasekara just stepping through the gap nicely. Shehan Iranda going in after that ball, but the presentation was too good. And that looks like it was kicked from outside the 22, so Sakit Pereira's box kick will bring his team back quite a few meters. That was disappointing from the little scrum off, but he'll get his bearings soon enough.
Yes, but from St. Joseph's point of view, Shanak, I think they just need to try to make some smart choices here. They're trying to go to number 6 so earlier on, and with this win, they just don't seem to have adjusted. Need to just probably play it a bit more safe in these early stages.
Dangaya will have another opportunity, and that time it's a better throw, but Sakit Pereira opts to allow Big Siobhan Gregory to pick this one up instead of going for the ball himself. And that time it's a penalty again, so you can see why he did that, because he wanted to go and poach the ball. So good work defensively from the Thomians again, and Pereira will have another opportunity to give his team some distance after he botched that box kick. That's a much better thump from Sakit Pereira. St. Thomas is very lucky this year, Abdullah, you have to say. All their fixtures have been home games so far. Haven't really had to go away from Mount Lavinia, and this is a terrible place for visiting teams, inexperienced teams to come to. With the turf wicket on one side and of course the raging wind from the Mount Lavinia beach.
You can lift it. Mark here.
So a bad mistake from the Thomians on their own line-out ball. They lifted too early and came down, so you can't fake a lift. Shanuk Pereira apologizes to the referee. And now a nice blindside opens for Tarindudi Alves.
Yes, an ideal opportunity to use that 8-9-11 combination. It'll be interesting to see what options they will take. We've already seen St. Joseph's when they spread the line once from their own 22, how dangerous they were.
Got to take the ball from behind the mark. On the far side, that was the Thomian player losing his bind. It was Handun Patirana on the near side. Needs to make sure he hits and holds.
And Algama this occasion makes no mistake with the touch finder. He's kept it very low and just made sure that he puts it into touch. The last two lineouts, St. Joseph's haven't been very successful. You need to just get some good clean line out ball, get over the gain line and just get it to their 3 quarters.
They are number 7, sir. 7.
Just the pressure of having Dunal Fernando in that front defensive position. It's about 6'4", and he's all arms and legs, Dunal. And everybody thought that was a knock-on, so forgot to keep playing. And now Santosh Algama with a good pass out. Now they're going wide, and Tarindu Maduranga drops this one cold. So the wet ball on the turf would have made it just a little wetter, and Maduranga's pass, the pass to Maduranga, was not the best one.
Yes, and also I think everyone was taking the ball from a standing position, wasn't it, Shanak? And everyone was going across. If you have a look at that once again, from Algama onwards, running across, stopping, starting, and it's very hard for the oncoming players to gauge where exactly the ball is going to come. You've got to be able to run onto the ball and probably keep it simple, isn't it? A lot of decoy runners there, probably making things a bit more complicated than they need to, and resulting in that knock-on.
Yes, I think St. Joseph's need to back themselves and say that they're good enough to beat these Thomian defenders one-on-one. And to try and take them on without doing anything too complex. Serenayaka asking why that wasn't a knock-on. I think the ball did go back initially, but may have gone forward off another Josephian hand. If we can go back to that later on.
Crouch.
But Shanuk Pereira now shifting to the loose head side of the scrum.
Set. Stay.
On the attacking ball. And here's Revan Kabewardena, goes off the side and runs straight into the tackle of Nehan Pereira. St. Joseph's hitting that ruck pretty hard.
It's a ball. Release the ball.
Sakit Pereira now with the up and under. Beautifully taken that time by Reshan Gunawardena, the experienced number 9, who's doing a job for his team in the fullback's berth. Serenayaka with the tackle on his opposite number. And now Algama with the little chip through. He'll be hoping that this one stays in the field of play, but instead it'll go into touch and goal, will it? Chaturanga does just enough. Thought he might have forgotten about the Josephian player herring up behind him.
It's again Algama just not managing to judge that kick properly. Probably need to give it a bit more air. Decided to go flat and the ball just, at least on this occasion, he did not go over the deadline. So it'll just be a 22-meter dropout. But these windy conditions at Mount Lavinia just seem to have just rattled this Josephian fly half thus far.
So it just shows how dependent they are on him kicking well. They have been a very good team this year because they've had probably the best cultured boot from number 10 out of hand. Here he is again. Algama again, Rashan Gunawardena at that time. And the ball again being spilled. And it hasn't been a good evening so far for Madhuranga. He looks pretty devastated. Just thought he might have an opportunity to really have a go at the Stormian defense.
Yes, I can understand what the Josephians are trying to do. They're trying to move the ball out wide to make use of the extra speed they have. But they've also just probably try and get onto the front foot a bit more rather than just forcing the issue, which currently seems to be happening.
Crouch. Set.
Good scrum for the Thomians that time. Really solid and nice ball out. Oh, that one is now the Thomians' turn to spill it. Sanjeeva Chaturanga, who I'm told plays well in practice. Really good move that time. It was a nice ball. And Chaturanga really needed to do better.
So I think all these teams are doing a basic mistake of trying to form far too wide, Shanak. I think they will do well to just come a meter in. It's very high-risk type of game they're trying to play. And on most occasions, there is the overlap there, so they don't need to be so wide. They can just get a bit closer. It would make the passer job much more easier to find his target.
Absolutely, Abdullah. Agreed 100%. And what Abdullah means is that the lines need to be lining up narrower, which means that they need to be standing less distance apart from each other. So that makes the shorter passes easier. And it's something you see in the international game. There's every ball carrier has close and distant options. Here's Madhuranga this time, stepping outside his number, and you can see why he wanted the ball so badly. Brilliant run from Tarindu Madhuranga there. Chaturanga does well as the last man in defense. And now Rashan Gunawardena will be looking for St. Joseph's to get the ball rolling on the scoreboard. Tangaya crashing forward. Gunawardena again, Santosh Algama. Lovely pass out, but again it's spilled. Seshan Rajapaksa does well to fall on that ball.
Yes, again, the problem the Josephians seem to be facing, Shanak, is that entire three-quarter line is just drifting across. So it's very hard for the passer to find his target when that happens. They've got to start running a bit more straighter and probably, as you mentioned, running a bit more narrower to the ball carrier.
So that 1 minute break that we're taking at the end of 20 minutes. Here's that lovely burst from Tarindu Madhuranga, show and go. And that time it was Navishya Karunaratne who completely missed him. But you can't blame him for that. He's such a good runner, Tarindu Maduranga. This was the good passage of play from the forwards, running hard onto that ball. Thangaya breaching the line of defense here. St. Thomas was doing well to get back, and here was the quick ball. This was what they could have done so much with. And it was a good pass. Tarindu Maduranga again just taking his eye off the ball, and I thought he was a little lucky to get away with that fly hack of the boot as well. News, updates, photos, videos, reports, all from our man on the spot. Damit Veerasinghe is in London, Bristol, Cardiff, wherever the Sri Lanka team may be travelling to, and he's exclusively on thepapare.com/CWC19. Don't forget to tune in. He had a bit of a rest day yesterday, of course, didn't have much to do. Sri Lanka getting a point by virtue of the weather. And if we have a few more games rained out, Abdullah, we're a couple of victories away from the semi-final, perhaps.
Yes, currently lying pretty at number 3 on the table. Hopefully it will remain like that and they will make the semi-finals, but still a long way to go in that ICC tournament.
Never beaten Pakistan before in a World Cup match. The only team that we haven't beaten in a World Cup match. And that wasn't to come to pass yesterday as well, as the game was called off without a ball being bowled at Bristol. Lovely city though, so sure there would have been some sightseeing done by the fans who would have travelled to the game. Good drive by St. Joseph's, but Tarindu Dialvis runs straight into the tackle of Sakit Pereira. Now the Thomians' turn to be tested. Lovely burst straight through. Thiraka Santosh it was, but St. Thomas has come away with it. Lovely offload again by Revan Kabewardena. One-handed offload. And that ball, did it go forward? Everybody was onside though, once the kick is charged down. And now St. Joseph's are lucky to have the ball back, and they will try to make them pay. It's quick ball, it's available once again. That was Nehan Pereira driving forward in the number 6 shirt. Waiting for it to the back is Tarindu Dialvis trying to drive his player over, and yes, they score. Siobhan Gregory was the man who dived over in the tackle of Jayasekara. But the flanker just not big enough to stop the marauding prop forward. And it was such a shame because St. Thomas has won the ball back. And just that charge down, giving the ball away, and Sakit Pereira really needs to be a little careful, get a bit more protection for his box kick.
Yes, I think you could see that he tried to rush it. Shanaka probably would have done well to just keep it and get his forwards to try to shield him a bit, or even maybe look to pass it on to his fly half to clear the ball, but decided to go by himself. And the Josephians just managed to smother that kick, and Gregory getting the first points on the board for St. Joseph's. That will make them feel much better. They just don't seem to have settled thus far in this game.
35 seconds here.
Yes, you can see that they were quite relieved to get that score. Almost half an hour gone in the game so far, and they've taken this long. And that's what we were talking about before the game, wasn't it? The fact that they're not match fit, the fact that they haven't been drilled against tough opposition. They would have been taking their time to get into the game, and that conversion is good. So Algama gives his team the lead, 7 points to 5. He had to rush the kick, but perhaps when he's not thinking about it too much, he's going to be kicking better. Here's the try coming. Off the next phase. See Siobhan Gregory just picking up at the back. Tarindu Dialvis behind him and just driving him over. That ball is spilled by Dialvis that time, the skipper. Missing the kickoff, so it's a slippery ball out there. We just had that short, sharp shower, didn't we, Abdullah? It's a kind of shower that everyone loves at rugby games.
Well, if you are the receiver from a kick like that, isn't it, Shanak? And the wind also just making that ball wobble up in the air. Never an easy task. I think Alvis was a bit worried about the oncoming runners as well. Had an eye on them, just resulting in that knock-on. So great opportunity for St. Thomas's to once again try and strike back immediately. Just a scrum just outside the 22.
Sit. Steady. Stay.
We'd like to see Abewardena go off the back here. Whether he goes left or right, we'll have to wait and see. But the Josephians really not allowing this scrum to settle when they're in defense.
Boys, from the start itself, still we couldn't manage the scrum. What's happening? Because you are not stable enough to, you're not strong enough to hold the scrum, or is it we are going to continue this throughout the game? Make sure you maintain the stability, okay?
Referee asking a few rhetorical questions from the prop forwards who don't really have an answer. They look down at the floor
From
and carry on.
Make sure you are in line. Okay?
So this is where St. Thomas's have to make sure that they don't give away a free kick or a penalty. They've got a good attacking position. The referee's lecture seems to have worked that time. Abewardena goes off the back, but it was a good tackle by Nehan Pereira once again. Sakit Pereira. And that pass was forward. Just overrunning the ball was Sadak Ishak. And the Josephians taking very short time to remind the Thomians that they might not be as good as they think they are.
There's been a lot of complicated three-quarter moves trying to execute against Shanik in this game thus far. Got to keep in mind that the ball is also a bit wet now. Defenses are oncoming at a rate. Maybe just try and create a few phases, create space outside without trying to force the issue. Maybe a better option for both teams, really.
Here's a section of the Thomian crowd that will be cheering their team on. They haven't been in really loud voice so far. It's a good defensive scrum. Kavin Jayasekara awaits, and Tarindu De Alvis passes to Rashan Gunawardena, and Josephians try to run it from the centre, and that's Tarindu Madhuranka herring after the ball. Chaturanga does well enough, but that was Rajapaksa getting back and thumps it into touch. Well done from him eventually. But that was really dangerous stuff from the Josephian backline, showing what they can do if they get in behind this Thomian defense.
That's right, good option on that occasion to just hack the ball in front. The fullback was committed up as well. And some very good cover defense by the Thomian right wing on that occasion. Rajapaksha just hacking it into touch, probably saving the day for his teammates on that occasion.
Well, a 10-point performance from Rajapaksa so far. Scored 5 and definitely saved 5 there. Dunal again winning that defensive line-out ball, so they haven't been a thorn in the side of this Josephian line-out so far. Got to make sure, oh, that's a big hit by Tarindu De Alvis on his opposing number 8.
No, wait.
So good communication from referee Jamaldeen saying that the player didn't survive the clean-out. Shows he knows what he's doing, as Basula Veerasinghe puts St. Thomas's into the relative safety of the 20-meter mark.
Yes, well, the Josephian line-out just hasn't functioned at all today, hasn't it, Shanaka? I think the two Thomian second rows skipper as well as his colleague, I think, have done extremely well to thwart whatever the Josephians have tried to do at line-out time. It's probably what has just led to a bit of frustration in the Josephian camp as well.
Certainly have. The first phase ball hasn't been great for the Josephians, but the little ball that they have had, they've managed to make themselves very dangerous. That's a better ball and a better win from Cheka Jayawardena. Can't get the maul set up though. Gunawardena now to Algama, and that ball is well behind the runner. This is where Tarindu Madhuranga is dangerous. They've got to shadow him. Just slipping on that turf was the number 11 Teran Karunanayaka. Good tackle from Shenuk Pereira, flying up in defense. Shehan Eranda carrying the ball forward. Here's a squad of Josephian forwards led by Tangaya, rolling over that ball there. A slight knock-on, says the referee, and that was unfortunate for the Josephians. Their hands just letting them down. And with 5 minutes on the clock, I dare say if St. Thomas's had been offered 7-5 at half-time, they would have taken it.
That's right, and I think the Josephians are not helping their cause either, Shanak, by the way they've been executing some of their three-quarter moves. Algama seems to be taking the ball in a standing position, seems to be passing it to his receiver, who is also in a standing position, and hence the passes are just not going to hand. He's better off probably just trying creating a phase and just running a bit more direct on this Thomian three-quarter line.
You're certainly right about keeping it more simple, Abdullah. Both teams probably guilty of overcomplicating the situation a little bit. Gunawardena certainly in that pocket, so he's been getting away with it a lot. Rajapaksa dragged down in the tackle.
Just release the ball, holding on.
Holding on, says the referee. So the Thomian clear out brigade not there in time. Tarindu Dialvis was.
I think both these teams will be told probably at halftime they've got to earn the right to go wide, isn't it, Shanika? They're just trying to force the issue, trying to create something when there is nothing there, and just either finding themselves isolated or not managing to execute the passes properly.
It might be something that they do maybe after halftime. St. Thomas's have shown this pattern, Abdullah, of maybe trying to run a little bit in the first half and then trying to keep it close in the second half. We've seen that in their games against St. Peter's, their game against Royal as well. Some very interesting games coming up for them against the likes of Trinity. So lots of good mid-table rugby to be played in the 2019 Singer Schools League. Don't forget that all the photos of this match and all the other matches around the country can be seen on the Papare.com's photo galleries, which feature over 100 photographs from each sporting event. Visit thepapare.com/photos. Of course, you can buy any of them by just writing to our editor on the links on that page. Gunawardena has been good defensively so far, the young scrum half. He's not so young now, it's his last year. He's been around for ages. I'm told he has one more year. Actually, he might end up captaining St. Joseph's. Be surprised if he doesn't. Really is a complete number 9, isn't he, Abdullah?
Yes, and what's interesting, Shanik, is his decision making for such a young player. Even last year, I remember the Sevens tournament, he was, although there are so many other runners, he was the one who managed just to keep that whole team together.
And that was the injury to number 14. That was Sudaraka Devapre. I think he may have just hurt his shoulder going into that tackle. Also, innocuously shoulder injuries. Such a shame when it happens, though. But you're never really prepared for them.
Okay, stay back. Okay, play on. Because your coach is not allowing the player to come in.
So a bit of confusion. The Josephians look like they're playing with one less at the moment, and Harit Serenayaka does brilliantly. And Dunal Fernando cleans up after his skipper's tap down. Sakit Pereira with the crowd screaming for offside. Serenayaka, Kavin Jayasekara does brilliantly. And Pereira will look for another kick, will he? No. Lashandra De Silva. And it looks like there's a knock-on, but St. Joseph's will have the advantage. Here's Algama. That's better distribution from him. Smashing straight into that tackle was the big number 21, Aaron Pereira.
No advantage.
They'll come back for the knock-on though. Lashandra De Silva with an uncharacteristic handling error.
Again, St. Joseph struggling at line-out time, isn't it, Chanaka? Trying to force the issue once again, going to that number 6, just not managing to find the target. And the Thomian line-out jumpers have done extremely well to thwart whatever the Josephian line-out has managed to do in this first half.
Well, you can see that they're just completely terrified of Serenayaka and Dunal Fernando in the front of the line-out, which is why they keep going to the back. But it looks like Sudaraka Devapre has finally been substituted. So that looks like the game is done for him, which is really unfortunate. Looked like his shoulder was in a bad way after that tackle attempt on Seshan Rajapaksa.
Both sides going in first. I need that distance, please.
So this has been a bit of a nightmare as well. The front rows engaging. Two big front rows, so they know that they need every little bit of edge. This is the man who's come in, Ruchira Ekanayaka. Just came in for Sudaraka Devapriya. He'll take his place on the right wing. Nice ball from Tarindu Dialvi, straight through the gap goes Rashain Gunawardena. Lovely pass infield, and that'll be a try in the corner. Brilliantly worked. And Himesh Dissanayake is the man who scores, and we've just been talking about Rashain and about how good his decision making has been. And he took that ball off the number 8, and that created just a little bit of doubt in the 10 channel of who's going to defend what. And a beautiful show and go from Rashain Gunawardena, and he scores, and Himesh Dissanayake profits from the little number 9's brilliant break.
Yes, as we have a look at that once again, just sold the dummy. But what's most impressive, Shanaka, is just his awareness of where his supporting players are. Himesh was on his outside hand, but that communication was probably there. He changed his angle wonderfully and managed to take it from inside and go over just on the stroke of half-time. And this is probably just what the Josephian camp would have wanted.
They would have been desperate for these points, Abdullah. They would have been a little worried at 7 points to 5 in a game that they would have been expecting to win comfortably. And now Algama has an opportunity to put his team well ahead, but no, it remains at 12 points to 5. So just a one score in it so far, but St. Joseph's have been coming further into this game since they scored their first try at about 25 minutes of play, and they have been slowly growing in confidence. If they can get that line out right, then things will look very different for them. But at the moment, it's 12 points to 5 in the Lady Jayatilaka Shield, with the storm clouds perhaps gathering over and the sun fighting to stay relevant among those clouds. We have beautiful conditions for rugby, just a little bit of wind and lovely overcast weather for both these teams here at the Lady Jayatilaka Shield. So lots to come up in the next 35 minutes. We have the highlights coming up in just a moment. St. Thomas's College trailing 5 points to 12 in their home grounds. And Abdullah, it's been a decent reflection of how the game has gone, this scoreline.
Yeah, that's right. I think St. Thomas's have done very well to spoil whatever St. Joseph's have managed to throw at them. St. Joseph's probably, if they've learnt anything from that last try they've scored, Chanak, is they probably try and look at attack that 9, 10, 10, 12 channels a bit more rather than going out wide a bit too early.
So this was the first try scored by St. Thomas's. And again, juggling that ball, but Seshan Rajapaksa just having enough to fall over. And the first try by the Josephians as well, profiting from a charge down of Sakit Pereira's kick. And Siobhan Gregory, the big number 3 at the back there. Rolling over. Just not enough help for Kavin Jayasekara there in the fringe. Senanayaka should probably have moved in a little. And Santosh Algama with a good conversion. And here's the last try that we saw. Beautiful little dummy from Rashain Gunawardena. Then a hip swerve to take him away from the fullback. And a lovely fend from Himesh Dissanayake on Sanjeeva Chaturanga before he dives over in the corner. We'll come back with lots more second half action after the break.
දැන් යහපෝෂා දන්නේ ඉරිඟු සහල් මුං සෝයා විතරක් නෙවෙයි කිරිත් එකතු කරලා. ඒ නිසා මා චේන්ජ් වුණා.
ලංකාවේ ළමයින්ගේ අලුත්ම සොයා ගැනීම. මේක රස එක. මැලිබන් යහපෝෂ රස එකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා
හොඳම මැලිබන්තේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුනා. මැලිබන්ටේ එක්ක අපේ දවස රස වුණා.
පදම වරුනේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුනා.
මැලිබන්තේ පදමට කහට.
I have news. Let's meet.
To be a man is to sweat for every last inch of it. The harder you push yourself, the louder your body will protest. From sweat to grease, grease to dandruff. Fight back with Clear Men, 2 times the fighting power of ordinary shampoos. Beat grease, beat dandruff. Unbeatable performance for the unbeatable man. Power through the odds. Clear, zero dandruff, nothing to hide.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකික සැමගේ තේරීම no limit.
Then Gold Dio Body Spray. හඳුන්වා දෙන අලුත් මාදිලි 4කින්. Blaze, Challenge, Storm සහ Rave. අදම try කරන්න. Gold Dio Body Spray. පැය 24 පුරා.
When she's special, she's not just a girlfriend. She is your sweetheart. When you feel it, you don't just call it sunshine. You call it warmth. When you reveal your deepest emotions, it's not just art, it's freedom. And when its essence is premium cocoa butter, it's not just chocolate, it's Ravello. Chocolate so special, you call it Ravello.
Discover fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination.
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
පවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිංහ අත විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Hello everyone, we are here at the Sophia Gardens in Card.
It's around the wicket time on the Papare.com.
දැන් යහපෝෂා දන්නේ ඉරිඟු සහල් මුං සෝයා විතරක් නෙවෙයි කිරිත් එකතු කරලා. ඒ නිසා මා චේන්ජ් වුණා.
ලංකාවේ ළමයින්ගේ අලුත්ම සොයා ගැනීම. මේක රස එක. මැලිබන් යහපෝෂ රසයකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා.
හොඳම මැලිබන්තේ.
කහට
Very good afternoon and welcome back to the Lady Jayatilaka Shield clash between St. Joseph's and St. Thomas's, live from Mount Lavinia. You're on ThePapare.com and channel 77 on the Dialogue TV platform. And what a mistake that was, 71 rather. Channel 71 it is.
Advantage, knock forward.
And coming back to Jayasekara's knock on from the kickoff. So It will be a game of two halves, I feel, Abdullah. Now that St. Joseph's have settled, you might see them really taking this game away.
But also what needs to be kept in mind, Shanaka, is that whenever St. Joseph's, those 2 tries they scored, they've just done the simple things correctly, isn't it? They haven't tried to do anything flash. They've just gone pick and goes, just running a straight lines. And that's what they need to do if they are going to just run away with this game, which they do have the ability to do.
And they've got to back their talent, don't they? They've got some very good outside backs. Imesh Dissanayake, who scored, Tarindu Maduranga, who's made some great breaks. They've really got to rely on those players to get behind the gain line. And then on their fitness. Nehan Pereira has been really good in defense so far for St. Joseph's. And Tarindu Alvis now goes off the back. Rashan Gunawardena creating the overlap. Straight through goes Gunawardena. And what a try from the little number 9. We were talking about his decision making. And he'll be a great poker player, Abdullah. Knows when to hold him, knows when to fold him. So he knows exactly when to hold on to the ball. When the defensive unit is in 2 minds, holds onto the ball and just side through like a knife through butter.
That's right. You've got to wonder where the Thomi and third row was. But I guess if you look at that scrum against Shanaka, they were so focused on putting pressure that they just did not have their defensive mindset to throw that. And Gunawardena again just picking that correct option, linking up with his keeper beautifully. And St. Joseph's scoring at 2 crucial moments just before halftime and just after halftime.
It's an 8-9-14 move. Is one I'm a huge fan of, Abdullah, and you have to also learn how to defend it. As Santosh Algama lines this kick up, and it looks like it's just wide of the right-hand upright. So you've got to learn how to defend it in the sense that once your flanker takes the number 8, you've got to make a decision whether the winger, the blindside winger, comes in and takes the 9 and you wait for the number 8 to go out to the flank, or you let your winger go with the other winger and you get your number 8 coming in and taking the number 9. So this is where Revanka missed him. This is where Revanka Abewardena was caught in 2 minds whether he was going to take Rashan Gunawardena or going for the outside man. And that's what created the indecision, which is all Rashan Gunawardena needed. Well done to the little number 9. Now he's created 1 and scored 1.
Stay wide! No, release wide! Okay, roll away.
St. Thomas's still have it. Nice defense that time by Maduranga, flying up off the defensive line. But Jayasekara manages to hold on to the ball. Revanka Abewardena gets up, goes twice, and now Adisha Handun Patrana. That pass was almost intercepted. Chaturanga does well to get the ball away to Shenuk Pereira, who does even better to get the ball away to Olugala, who gets his first opportunity in this half.
It's probably if that Thomi and 3/4 line just managed to run a bit straight, Ashanak, and preserve a bit of space out wide, maybe they could have created something a bit more, or rather at least created another phase to attack from, but it was not to be. Some good cover defense by the Josephians, resulting in them being able to bundle the Thomian ball carry into touch and get a good clean line out.
Beautiful drive by the Josephians. They've already got about 15 meters off that line out. Here's Tangaya. And now quick ball for St. Joseph. Santosh Algama looks once, has to think about it and then pass. Here's Aaron Fernando. Beautiful step that time. It's a new man on the park. That was Ruchira Ekanayaka. But it looks like the referee says holding on. So even though they conceded about 30 meters, St. Thomas's did well to come back and poach that ball. So they've been showing good hustle in defense. But St. Joseph's one-on-one out wide, Ablela, just too much quality.
That's what they need to do. They just need to keep it simple, isn't it, Shanaka? Just run straight, draw the defenders, and give it out. They're throwing long skip passes, just enabling that Thomian cover defense to come across. It's a very simple game as far as the Josephians are concerned, if they can just realize what they need to do.
Well, it's a pretty simple game, rugby, actually, if you just get your basics right. And that's the hardest thing in rugby and in life, of course. Kavin Jayasekara coming back to Lashandra De Silva this time. First time he's got a chance to really trundle into the opposition. And that's a
No
bad
advantage.
knock
Holding
on
in there,
from
holding in there.
Fernando, I think it was, number 6. Little exchange of passes between the forwards, not going as planned. That was Senanayaka, the captain, actually. Needs to do better if he wants to inspire his team to back into this game. 17 points to 5, and they really need to score next.
Yes, they need to do. St. Joseph's confidence is at a high now, just getting 2 quick tries on the either side of the half-time break. Momentum very much with them. Thomians need to just try and trot that by getting some form of a score as soon as possible.
So this is probably one of their main weapons, the line out. And we're seeing Abid Kader coming on for number 20, who's played his part, Dimel.
Time back on.
In fact, it might be Karyappa that just came on. Tell you in a moment. Jahaniranda, brilliant work again from Gunawardana. Gunawardana herring into the corner. Can he be caught? No, he can't. And it's a brace for Gunawardana. And Roshan Gunawardana is stealing the Lady Jatilaka trophy, putting it into his own pocket, and will probably drive it all the way back to Maradana if he keeps playing like this.
Again, just the ability to identify the space in midfield, isn't it, Shanaka? He looked for support, but realized that he has the gas to outrun the last line of the Thomian defense. As we have a look at that once again, just running into that hole, just having a bit too much space, running around that Thomian cover defense and going over for the 4th and bonus point try. So as far as St. Joseph's are concerned, they will now just look at trying and winning this game without worrying too much. But again, Shanak, you just have to question, why did St. Thomas's have to go to the back of the line out? Number 2 and 4 was working for them perfectly. Did they really need to go for that number 6 option?
Well, this is experience, Abdullah. This is decision making, which is the most important thing in sport. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. People will say that it's physical prowess. People will say that it's talent. But decision making is your most important asset on any sports pitch. Knowing what works for you and sticking to that is really what discipline is all about. And St. Thomas's haven't done that. We looked at that line out and we said St. Thomas's needed to score next, and this is a good platform. But instead of going for the drive, going for the front ball that they're so sure of, they went to the back, tried something different, and ended up looking 5 points in the face.
It's one thing St. Thomas's just can't afford to do is to give possession from broken play. That is when this Josephian team with the backs they possess can be so very dangerous.
Great pace from Gunawardana, wasn't it? And I thought he handled beautifully as well. He was hitting the gap. The ball was a little behind him, but took it with one hand and did really well. It is Abid Kader that has come on in the number 18 jersey. And that was being charged down, so a little bit of a dose of his own medicine. And here's Senanayaka. Can the Thomian skipper try and ignite his team's fortunes as they march towards the line?
Right, release. Right, release!
Sakit Pereira borrowing in after this like a badger.
Roll away.
And this is where the Thomians will feel comfortable, but a big driving defensive effort that time.
Release,
Abewardana gets
okay, roll
close.
away, white roll away. Okay, you can use
Referee communicating well there, just making sure that the tacklers move away. Again, good fringe defense from the Josephians. Jayasekara.
Roll away, white, release, white. Release, white.
Good ball presentation this time. Navisha Karunaratne. That looked like it might have been a deliberate knockdown. 4-on-1 here with the defenders swarming all over. St. Thomas's have an advantage coming. Here's Kader, the new man, fresh legs. Pereira. It's not a good ball, but Jayasekara does well to rescue it. Here's Handun Patirana, gives the ball away, but the referee will come back for
He was committed
the
to
advantage.
the tackle, not for the ball. So we're going for a scrum. He was committed for the tackle.
So referee saying it wasn't a deliberate knockdown, that it was just a knock on while he was in the process of tackling. So that's good refereeing.
Yeah, that's right, but a real lost opportunity for St. Thomas's, isn't it? They just got within meters of the Josephian try line. They just need to finish it off. But again, a lot of credit to the Josephian defense on the fringes. St. Thomas's just didn't seem to be going anywhere.
And again, just need to move the point of attack a little bit, don't they, Abdullah? Because the Josephian fringe defense is very strong. They just need to move it 5 meters out from the breakdown point. And then they might be in business.
Sit. Steady there. Steady.
This is the stuff that you need to be able to think of on your feet. Here's Abewardena, goes off the back, takes 2 defenders to bring him down. Handun Patirana, the Thomian senior man, is smashed back in the tackle, and the referee says that he took 1 turn too long, and that's a mistake that guys of his caliber can't be affording to make for a team like St. Thomas's, full of young, inexperienced players. They need these big men to turn up.
Yeah, that's right, but just the basics, isn't it, Shanaka? Being there in your numbers, knowing where the ball carrier is going, just got to get these basics correctly, because this Josephian third row, they're very, very good at pouncing on the loose ball. And Al Gama on this occasion finds a wonderful touch. Just about 10 meters away from the halfway mark, relieving the pressure.
Well, that's a thunderous kick, isn't it, Abdullah? Because not only did it go forward towards the 40-meter mark, it had to go all the distance from the far side post to the touchline as well. So a good 60-70 meters as the crow flies. Brilliant kick by Algama, who seems to have got his measure of this Mount Lavinia breeze. And that didn't seem to be straight, but they've gotten away with it.
No hands, bro.
Oh, that was a kick by Handun Patirana, which was missed by everybody. Revanka Abewardena thinks about the offload and eventually gets it away to Veerasinghe, but Veerasinghe leaves it behind.
Yeah, okay?
And there was a kick.
Okay, hold it.
And I think Handun Patirana is very lucky that the touch judge missed that. Completely not on. You can watch it here. You can see the Josephian players having a go at Handun Patirana, and rightly so. It's not what we want to see on the rugby field, and this is Basula Veerasinghe who's down. So the young fly half coming into the team. Looks like he might have done himself some serious damage there, trying to latch on to that offload.
Well, so far, Shanaka, from St. Joseph's point of view, they just, although they are comfortably ahead so far, they just don't seem to have found their rhythm, isn't it? Probably understandable considering the fact that this is their first game in probably 5 weeks. They just don't seem to have found their rhythm, relying on the individual brilliance of a few players like Reshan Gunawardena to just see them through this game. Definite title contenders, only unbeaten team in the league thus far. So I'm sure this game will definitely give them a lot of confidence moving forward.
Don't forget to watch our World Cup coverage. Visit our YouTube channel for replays, highlights and more. YouTube.com, ThePapare official is the channel. Veerasinghe manages to get up after that little scare. And our man in England, Damit Veerasinghe, just messaged me a few moments ago. He must be much happier now than he was at half-time when he sent me the message. Watching St. Joseph spilling straightforward balls, he said. They'll be watching too much World Cup cricket is all I can say, Abdullah. So I'm sure he'll be a much happier man.
Yeah, that's right. Damit doing a wonderful job there in England. Been a bit disappointed about yesterday's washed-out game.
So Pakistan also would have been a little disappointed. They looked like they were on form. St. Thomas's would have been spared some blusters, and looks like Basula Weerasinghe will not be staying on. He will have to go off. And this is unfortunate for St. Thomas's. Jan Desois also looks like he's injured, carrying the water today. So this is really not what we want to see.
Yes, well, probably a bit too many stoppages in the second half, isn't it, Chanaka?
Especially for St. Joseph's, who had the momentum with them.
Captain?
Yes, well, I was referring to the little bit of argy-bargy that was going on. Normally, as you go into the second half, you're a bit more fatigued to get involved in those kind of stuff. So
clearly the players just want to keep themselves warm, nothing else.
Papare brand offering some entertainment to the relatively sparse crowd here, isn't it, Shanaka? Expected a bigger crowd, but the crowd has been relatively disappointing. But hopefully, as this league reaches its final 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see the momentum picking up as more teams will be in line. We'll have much more to play for in terms of the league title as well as the final standings.
St. Joseph's, of course, still the only unbeaten team in the competition so far, and this will take them a step closer towards a title that they're desperate for. Of course, we have that big game between St. Joseph's and St. Peter's coming up, Abdullah, off in Bambalapitia. And depending on how St. Peter's go against Trinity today, everybody will be rubbing their hands in glee waiting for that game. And of course, a mid-table clash between Trinity and St. Thomas's in the offing as well. That should be an interesting matchup. And then Wesley, who were leading against Isipatana a few moments ago, will be looking to make their mark on the latter half of the season as well. A team that is finally beginning to find its rhythm, looks like. The Alvis goes off the back. Rashan Gunawardena gives it to Tarindu Madhuranga this time, and he just puts his ears back. Madhuranga with a good tackle that time was the number 23. Rakava had to make it. Madhuranga galloping away, and just a one man to beat. It looked like it was curtains for St. Thomas's. Here's a new man, Ruchireka Nayaka, still going. Brilliant run from him. Ishak eventually makes the tackle. Rashan Gunawardena finding himself at first receiver again. Lovely dummy from Tangaya. Straightens the line. Now Gunawardena has numbers for the outside. Madhuranga with the ball in field.
Off blue.
Good discipline from Rajapaksa to let that ball go there as the referee called off feet. Gunawardena will now steady things a little bit. Santosh Algama.
No, release, bro. Roll away first.
Good continuity from referee Jamaldeen here. Here's Gregory, the try scorer, looking for another one. And that's a lovely ball, but couldn't hang on to it. Could
off it,
Tiraka Santosh. Or Tarindu Alvis it was, who couldn't hang on to it. This time he picks it and goes. The Josephian skipper. Big bust up the middle of the park by St. Joseph's that time, showing that they have the wide game and the close game. Sadak Ishak made a decision and was saved by a bad pass. St. Thomas's opt to go quickly, and Ishak is dragged down inside the 22. Not sure that was wise given how strong their line-out has been. Here's Hadun Padrana, who fights his way towards the 22-meter mark. And Sakit Pereira clears from the base without Basula Weerasinghe as well, so he has seriously few options now. Aaron Pereira, lovely ball, but it looked like it might have gone a little far forward because Sarindu Maduranga's eyes just lit up as he caught that ball. There's every chance that he would have scored that try, but St. Thomas's just saved by a pass going a shade forward.
So I'm not sure whether it's a tactic of St. Joseph's, Shanaka, but if you look, every single move, Santosh Algama seems to be taking the ball from a standing position and distributing. I'm not sure whether that's the best thing when he's got backs, at least of phase ball. He has to be able to run onto the ball, just try and hold that Tomian defense. That will just help the outside backs to have a bit more room to maneuver. He's just taking the ball standing and just flinging it out. If you look at it again, just taking standing and giving it out, and it's much more easier for the defensive team to come up. Although on that occasion, I don't think that Tomian outside centre held his line as well as he should have.
Sadak Ishak that time choosing to come out of his line and go for the interception. It would have been looked brilliant if he had scored under the post at the other end, but if you don't, doesn't look great. The Papare Most Popular Schools Rugby Player 2019. Vote now at /schools-rugby/vote. My favorite competition in the entire world, as you'd know, Abdullah. So another stoppage now, and St. Thomas is just allowed to catch their breath after St. Joseph's hammered away at them for the last minute or so. Vihanga Pereira is on the park as well, another experienced player coming in off the bench.
Come on. Crouch, right, bind, set, going in.
And boring in, says the referee, and this time it was Thiraka Santosh on the far side, but Revank Abewardena tried to take it quickly, which is not the smartest decision in the world, especially given their field position. Should just have gone for a line out and attacked from there, but just a little bit of rush of blood to the head.
Yeah, sure. Are you ready?
Yes, and also is that St. Thomas's game, Shanaka. They generally prefer to play it at set piece, control possession, use the driving maul. We just haven't seen enough of the driving maul either. They've managed to disrupt the Josephian line out in this game more than a few occasions. They managed to win ample line out of their own, but just haven't been able to control possession as much as they would like.
Last warning.
And Thiraka Santosh gets 2 warnings in a row. Shanuk Pereira wins that particular battle on the far side of the scrum, and Adish Haudenpatharan at that time tells Sakit Pereira, "That's where I want you to kick it out, mate," and he duly obliges. Ishank Abekun hasn't been called too much into play.
It's not very clever by the Josephian front row, infringing twice for the same offense in consecutive scrums.
He's got a last warning, so it'll be interesting to see what referee Jamaldin will do if he needs to go to his pocket. Dunal. Sakit Pereira coming straight through. Did he come through too soon?
Ball is available.
Nice pass out wide, and here's Abewardena, puts his ears back, comes back in field sensibly, gets to the 22. Here's Dunal. Haudenpatharan. He knows only one route, and he's met in a good tackle by Nehan Pereira, who's been great in defense. Recover to Sadak Ishak. Ishak takes on. Ruck form, says the referee, so Ruchira Ekanayaka's attempt to poach the ball was too late. St. Thomas's with Ovin Hettiarachi coming into the fly half position after Basula Veerasinghe was taken off with a knee injury. And maybe for the first time we will see a driving maul if St. Thomas's can win this ball. Lashandra De Silva, who hasn't really featured too much with the ball in hand, will need to make sure he gets his jump right that time, and he does exactly that.
Playing advantage, they're going down. It was not immediate. Going down.
The sack was not immediate, says referee Jamaldeen. So St. Thomas's will have a penalty if they can't score off this. Big drive forward. But
they're going for no advantage for pulling down.
No advantage, says the referee, so they will come back. I would think St. Thomas's should probably go for another line out. Exactly what they do.
4 consecutive penalties. Don't repeat that. 4 consecutive penalties. Not anymore.
Referee warning St. Joseph, saying it's been 4 consecutive penalties, gentlemen. So, with about 15 minutes left on the clock.
No! No hands.
That one was disrupted nicely by the Josephian defenders. Manages to drive the Thomian players off that ball. Really good counter-rucking that time from the Josephians, managing to slow the ball down and taking the sting out of the Thomian attack.
Roll. Stay on your feet,
Good
Blue.
technique this is, and Anuranga Walpola will be happy about this aspect of the game.
Okay, that's a tackle.
Still keeping the ball. And Ovin Hettiarachchi passes to nobody in particular. Ishak passes again to the same person.
Again, Shanak, you've just got to question the decision making, isn't it? There was absolutely nothing on for those Thomian three-quarters to work with. It was static ball. The Josephian defense was perfectly well aligned. St. Thomas's just needed to show a bit more patience. Just try and drive. Just try and wear down the fringe defense of the Josephians. Just taking the easy route out and eventually turning out to be the wrong decision.
Certainly, Abdullah, couldn't agree with you more. Just need to shift their point of attack. I think they need pods of 2 or 3 forwards standing in different positions of the pitch to give Sakit Pereira a few options.
Backwards. Knock forward.
Ball knocked forward on the floor. So again, that line out has been really dominant for St. Thomas's, but they haven't been able to make that count in any other area of the field.
So that's the second time they've gone to number 1, isn't it, Shanak? It shows probably a lack of confidence in their line out today. It's an area they will need to try and rectify going further ahead up against the teams which have very good lineouts like Royal and St. Peter's. Having said that, the Thomian lineout is one of the better lineouts in schools rugby nonetheless, but they will be up against as good or even better lineout units in the coming weeks.
Certainly will, and that's something that they will have to go back to the training ground and work on fairly hard.
That's a good scrum, thank you.
Sakit Pereira, the ball shoots out, and here's Navishka Rajapaksa. Oh, that's great ripping from Imesh Disanaika. And unfortunately, undoes his good work, ripped the ball away from the Thomian number 12 and then held it on to himself. St. Thomas is taking it quickly, and the referee will probably go to his pocket here.
Consecutive penalties.
Consecutive penalties, and it is Cheka Jayawardena who will go to the bin. Unfortunately, takes one for his team.
Mark here. Come here.
So with 10 minutes to go, it looks like a mountain a little bit too high for St. Thomas's to climb, but still if they can get to double figures on the scoreboard, I think they'll be quite happy.
Yes, well, it's interesting to see the options they will be taking. Center scrum, just about 10 to 15 meters or even less away from the try line. Looks like they've pushed their big number 8, Revanka, onto the right wing. So maybe they'll be trying to use him out wide.
Again, I'd be thinking of using him further infield, Abdullah.
Steady.
Think they're maybe overestimating themselves to move it to him. Rashan Gunawardena with what can be described as a professional foul, perhaps, coming straight through there. And if the referee sent another card, he's been doing that all evening, Gunawardena, and gotten away with it because the ball at the back for St. Thomas's has not been tidy. But the new rule, Abdullah, is that the defensive number 9 can't come into the pocket between the flanker and the number 8. So that really makes lives for number 8 very much easier. So he can't come through there. He can't come over Jayasekara's feet. Which is where we've had annoying number 9s yapping at our feet for time immemorial. And now the rules change.
Sit. Steady.
Hettiarachchi needed to hold on to that ball. It was a nice pass straight in front of him.
Advantage, knock forward.
No love lost in this game. Good to see.
So again, the decision making, Shanak, I can't understand why the Thomians are so insistent on just trying to push the ball out wide. Just try and use that extra man. The Thomian pack is down to 8, rather Josephian pack is down to 7 players. Just try and attack those inside channels.
Get Abewardena running off. Hettiarachchi. He can stand and pass.
Crouch. Bind. Sit. Okay, steady. Play on. Ball was split. Play on.
Good tackle on Rashan Gunawardena that time. Knocks it forwards, and so St. Thomas's have the ball back. Ball went backwards, and big Shanuk Pereira now will hair off towards the line. A good tackle from Madhuranga, who expected to come off a little worse for wear in that contact.
This is one of the probably first poor judgments that Rashan has made this whole game. He needs to have gone to his right-hand side rather than trying to look for that pass on his left hand because the scrum-half was following him, resulting in a knock-on and another opportunity for St. Thomas's. They yet haven't quite made use of this extra man advantage that they've had. Again, it's probably not making the correct decisions, isn't it, Shanaka?
Yeah, they certainly haven't. They haven't scored for what is almost an hour in this game, Abdullah, since they scored that first try.
Fine.
They've been pretty much out of it. St. Joseph's just trying to find their feet, and once they did, there was no turning back. Here's Hettiarachchi. It's slow ball, but again, convoluted work, and as Seshan Rajapaksa hits the gap.
No hands wide now.
Sakit
Backwards,
with
Leon.
a good pass.
Tackle,
Olugala, who has moved over onto the left wing. Carter steps inside, one tackle from Tarindudi Alvis. Lashandra De Silva now hasn't had the ball too much today in dangerous positions.
Okay.
Senanayaka, Rajapaksa. Revan Abewardena fights his way to the 5-meter line. High tackle, says the referee. And he may go to his pocket again to leave St. Joseph's defending with 2 men less. So St. Joseph's have only their own indiscipline to flaw for this.
Can you repeat the same thing what you said at the... No, can you repeat it? What the fuck?
And that's a 3rd yellow card for having a go at the referee. And Thangaya looks like he's been sent to the bin for saying something unacceptable to the ref. We didn't pick that up on our ref's mic, but now St. Thomas's are playing 12 Josephians, and if they can't score here, then really got to...
Yeah, immediate, Leon. Immediate. Okay, now white, release. Okay. First you have to roll away first.
Here's Abewardena. Dumped in the tackle, and St. Thomas's eventually get over the line. Shanuk Pereira has a word to Tarindu Alvis. And this is where St. Thomas's were against Wesley as well. They came back late in the game, but it was too little too late.
Yeah, that's right. Eventually down to 12 men, and St. Thomas's good enough to make use of it. Probably just the consolation try. Just approaching the last 5 minutes of the game. But nonetheless, St. Joseph's will be down to at least 13 players for the remainder of this game, isn't it, Chanaka? So an opportunity for St. Thomas's to try and mount something. But they've got to be very accurate.
Well, 2 scores in 5 minutes. It's happened before. But perhaps this Stormian team may be not the one to do it. So 5 and a bit minutes left on the clock. And St. Joseph's taking their time, understandably, to walk their way back to the halfway line.
We had ball? Ball? Still the time is stopped, huh?
Referee says time is still off, so
hold it there.
We have a few replacements.
Number 17. 17.
Hasitha Vijayasekara comes on for St. Joseph's.
Hold it there.
So the Josephian bench now in a little bit of disarray as to who to send on, who to keep on, who to take off.
Stay back.
Hettiarachi will thump this ball down the field.
Number 7, wait. Number 7, wait. Okay, now you can go. Now you can go.
And here it is again, some really good running. Vihanka Pereira that time smashed back in the tackle by Dunal Fernando. And St. Thomas is winning a penalty for sealing off. This time it was a little number 28. Don't seem to have his name on the score sheet. In fact, it's Tarindu Alvis. No, it's not. Don't seem to have his name on the score sheet. Might be Mohammad Rifan.
Bring it back. Pull it down.
And again, the Josephian discipline really letting themselves down. Abdullah, this has been penalty after penalty after penalty.
Yes, well, they need to be a bit careful because it's just 2 scores away, Shanaka, and they're down to 13 men as well. A try here. Very well set the cat among the pigeons.
Certainly get it up to 17 points to 10. And then we have game on. Abewardana profiting from that knock-on, and Dunal Fernando really needed to catch the ball at a vital stage of the game. But this has been the story of St. Thomas's afternoon, hasn't it? They've been good, but not good enough.
That's right, just at those crucial moments, Shanak, either not executing or not making the correct decisions. It's probably the reason why they find themselves 12 points down.
3-2-1, yeah. Others has to go back.
So St. Joseph's seem to have replaced Reshan at the scrum-off position. Interesting call.
3-2-1. Yeah, 3-2-1.
I think they may have made that substitution just before the yellow cards came in.
One has to go back.
Giving their skipper a bit of a rest. So only 6 in the pack at the moment. No flankers. So Revanka Abewardana will be looking to see if his mate Lashandra De Silva can outhook, but he can't.
Play on.
Tarindu Alvis does well to get off the back.
No hands.
Donald Fernando goes in after that ball, but does well to release when the referee calls.
There was a slight into you. Obstruction, scrum.
It's a little bit of an obstruction there. Right on the
Knocked into
spot
your
was Akil Jamaldeen, number 33, whose name we don't have on the score sheet.
Yes, St. Joseph's probably a bit guilty of playing a bit too much rugby in their own half, isn't it, Shanaka? They've just got to get it to Algam and for him to clear their lines, because got to remember they're down to 13 players as well. Important to try and play the territorial game as much as possible. Just run the clock down.
I think they just switched off, didn't they, Abdullah, when they went up 22 points to 5. Taken quickly by Abewardena. Drives towards the line, not 10 meters.
Not 10 meters.
So referee will call them back on the 5-meter line. So going for the line out again. I would probably pick and go. Have another scrum. Not sure the scrum was the right option because you can only have 6 in the scrum this time. So you have 2 additional defenders back. But what this means with the additional defenders back is there are no flankers to stop Abewardena off the back if he wants to go.
Bind. Take the gap. Come get closer.
So it's been really about half an hour of very good play from the Josephians and
back. Sit.
Not very good stuff after that.
It's just running the clock down, isn't it? The stop starts. Not what the Thomians would want.
Referee asking for the props to change.
On the 5-meter line. Okay, yeah.
We have to pick a man of the match, Abdullah. And regardless of what happens in this game, I think Rashain Gunawardena is probably has to be our player of the day. He's been excellent today. Really not good execution that time. Not good decision making, and that looks like it's the end of the game. St. Thomas has had all the opportunities to make use of the 12 men that St. Joseph's had on the park, but just not good enough to do so, not good enough to make sure that they exploited that, and it was that brilliance of Rashain Gunawardena and of course Sarindu Maduranga and a few other backline players who managed to breach the Thomian defence that the Lady Jayatilaka Shield is retained by St. Joseph's by 22 points to 10 at Mount Lavinia. It was a game that entertained but fizzled out towards the end.
Yeah, that's right, Shanaka. I think overall the Josephians wouldn't probably be too thrilled with their overall performance, but probably the result will probably please them. The fact that the number 1 got the win and second of all they managed to get the 4-try bonus point as well. So that will just keep them there and thereabouts. They'll definitely be heading the table going into next week's rounds as well. So Coach Nilfa Ibrahim, a lot of work on, but I think overall with the result he'll be pretty pleased.
Yes, certainly will be. I think they came away to Mount Lavinia expecting the W, and they've got that. They've got the bonus point as well. So those are the 2 things that they would be expecting. And what's good about champion teams, Abdullah, is that when it's an ugly game and they still manage to win, that's the important thing, because you're never going to have a stellar performance in every game you play.
Yeah, that's right, Shanik. And also you've got to say that St. Thomas's too did have their opportunities. But just at crucial moments, they did not make the correct decisions on what they needed to do, isn't it? When they needed to keep it close and tight, they went wide. When they needed to just run straight lines, attack those 12, 13 channels, they sent it out too wide, too early. And just those kind of crucial things is probably what resulted in them losing this game.
22 points to 10 as we look out over this background once again. The stuff that lots of us have grown up with here at Mount Lavinia, this big club ground, such an iconic venue, but turns out to be a fortress for St. Thomas's, but they have lost twice here at this venue despite playing all their games at home. In fact, they've lost 3 times now at this venue, once to Royal, once to Wesley, and now this game at St. Joseph's as well. Here are the highlights, and Rashain Gunawardena again, as soon as we started the second half, just bursting through on an 8-9-14. And again, running into that gap before he even had the ball. Good ball handling skills and good pace to run away from the defense of Rakava. Sakit Pereira got back, but too late. This was St. Thomas's coming back through Shanuk Pereira, but too little too late. Their tries were at the start of the game and right at the fag end of the game as well. And this is what the full-time situation looks like. St. Thomas's 5 points to 12 at halftime, and we thought the game will be a little closer, but just 10 points added by St. Joseph's in the second half, and just a 5 added by St. Thomas's at the full-time whistle. Rashan Gunawardena are clear man of the match, and he was a clear man of the match in every sense of the word, wasn't he?
That's right, Shanaga, both in terms of his individual brilliance and his overall decision-making, barring one or two occasions. But he's a wonderful talent, a very good rugby head on his shoulders, and he'll be the key for St. Joseph's, I feel, as they go into the last few weeks of this league tournament.
Next week's fixtures, we have the second leg, the return leg of the Royal Trinity Clash. I'm sure we'll see a much bigger crowd at the Royal Complex than we did see up in Pallekele. Wesley will take on St. Joseph's. Watch for an upset in that game. That might be a game that will go down to the wire. Should be a very interesting one. St. Peter's take on Isipatani in a game that St. Peter's will be looking to win, and win comfortably with a bonus point. St. Thomas's take on Science, and it could be a banana skin for this Tomian team, who struggle to lift their game on certain occasions, and against these big opponents they've managed to bring their A game. But against Science College, Science will be fancying their chances against a Tomian team that will once again be at home. That match is on the 17th of June. So those are the fixtures coming up. The Lady Jayatilaka Shield will be handed over to the captain, Tarindu Dialvis of St. Joseph's. They've come all the way from Maradana on the 155 bus. No, I jest. They have got their own fancy bus coming here, St. Joseph's do. And they've managed to win this game fairly comfortably, despite having a long layoff in the weeks running up to this second round. And it has been a comprehensive win, and they are the only unbeaten team so far, and the pressure is mounting on them for a title challenge, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right, Chanaka. We'll be very pleased, as I mentioned earlier, with the result, but also considering the fact they're coming off a 5-week break as well. Probably a bit rusty, but you could sense as the game went on, seemed to find their fluency a little bit. But there will definitely be a few things that coach Nilfa Ibrahim and his assistant Anuranga Walpola will need to work. None more than their line-out, which probably was not up to the mark today. They'll be up against two really good line-out teams in Royal and St. Peter's, so they will definitely need to work that area out.
Yes, lots of work to be done in the time between now and next week. We have 4 fixtures next week, and we hope you enjoyed the 4 live fixtures brought to you by ThePapare.com and Dialogue TV on this Saturday's rugby. We hope you managed to watch your team and maybe another team also, on one on your TV, one on your phone. That's the kind of service ThePapare.com will be able to give you. Thanks a lot for joining us, from Abdullah Yusuf and myself in the commentary box, and for the rest of the production team here at ThePapare.com. It's goodbye for now.
හපෝෂා දාන්නේ ඉරිඟු සහල් මුං සෝයා විතරක් නෙවෙයි කිරිත් එකතු කරලා. ඒ නිසා මා චේන්ජ් වුණා.
ලංකාවේ ළමයින්ගේ අලුත්ම සොයා ගැනීම. මේක රස එක. මැලිබන් යහපෝෂ රසයකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා.
හොඳම මැලිබන්තේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා. මැලිබන්තේ එක්ක අපේ දවස රස වුණා.
පදම වරුනේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා.
මැලිබන්තේ පදමට කහට.
සුවිසලි ලක්ක වෙනුවෙන් සෑමංගලක් දක්වාම දහඩිය හෙලීම සැබෑ පිරිමියෙකුගේ ගතියක්. ඔබේ උත්සාහය තියුණු වෙන තරමට ඔබේ ශරීරයේ උත්සාහයට අභියෝග කරයි. මුලින් දහඩිය, ඉන්පසු ග්‍රීස්, අන්තිමට ඉස්හොරි. ක්ලියර්මෙන් සමගින් නැගිටින්න කාලයයි මේ. සාමාන්‍ය ෂැම්පූ වලට වඩා දෙගුණයක් ක්‍රියාකාරී ක්ලියර්මෙන් ඔබත් සමග ඉස්හොරි වලට එරෙහිව සටන් වදී. ඔබේ ජයග්‍රහණයට පෙරමං සදන අසමසම ඉලක්ක වෙත යන සැබෑ පිරිමින් වෙනුවෙන්ම සුවිශේෂී ක්ලියර්මෙන් ලොබාංගේගේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකික සැමගේ තේරීම no limit.
When she's special, she's not just a girlfriend. She is your sweetheart. When you feel it, you don't just call it sunshine. You call it warmth. When you reveal your deepest emotions, it's not just art. It's freedom. And when its essence is premium cocoa butter, it's not just chocolate. It's Ravello. Chocolate so special, you call it Ravello.
Drift in search of happiness. Fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination.
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සැනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
පවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
එය සිංහ නම මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිංහ අද විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Okay, she's ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Impressive CV. But why do you want to work here?
Is your unlimited package limiting you? Be really unlimited with the largest network. Talk unlimited with more than 13 million Sri Lankans with Dialog. Dialog Blaster Unlimited. A range of daily, weekly and monthly plans. Dial #678# to convert your package or get a new connection. It's always been my dream to be a part of a blue chip company.
දැන් යහපෝෂා දාන්නේ ඉරිඟු සහල් මුං සෝයා විතරක් නෙවෙයි කිරිත් එකතු කරලා. ඒ නිසා මා චේන්ජ් වුණා.
ලංකාවේ ළමයින්ගේ අලුත්ම සොයා ගැනීම. මේක රස එක. මැලිබන් යහපෝෂ රසයකට චේන්ජ් වෙන්න.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා.
හොඳම මැලිබන්තේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා. මැලිබන්තේ එක්ක අපේ දවස රස වුණා.
පදම වරුනේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා.
මැලිබන්තේ පදමට කහට.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකික සැමගේ තේරීම no limit. Stumble upon a surprise. Fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination.
කිසි ගැම්මක් නෑ. පදම පරක්කු ඇයි?
සුමීරි පානේ පදමට ගහලා දවස පුරා ගතට දැනෙන මිහිරක් පුබුදා
හොඳම මැලිබන් තේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා. මැලිබන් තේ එක්ක අපේ දවස රස වුණා.
පදම වරුනේ.
කහට පදම නියමෙට රස සමග මුසුණා.
මැලිබන් තේ පදමට කහට.
I have news. Let's meet.
සුවිසලි ලක්ක වෙනුවෙන් සෑමංගලක් දක්වාම දහඩිය හෙලීම සැබෑ පිරිමියෙකුගේ ගතියක්. ඔබේ උත්සාහය තියුණු වෙන තරමට ඔබේ ශරීරයේ උත්සාහයට අභියෝග කරයි. මුලින් දහඩිය, ඉන්පසු ග්‍රීස්, අන්තිමට ඉස්හොරි. ක්ලියර්මෙන් සමගින් නැගිටින්න කාලයයි මේ. සාමාන්‍ය ෂැම්පූ වලට වඩා දෙගුණයක් ක්‍රියාකාරී ක්ලියර්මෙන් ඔබත් සමග ඉස්හොරි වලට එරෙහිව සටන් වදී. ඔබේ ජයග්‍රහණයට පෙරමං සදන අසමසම ඉලක්ක වෙත යන සැබෑ පිරිමින් වෙනුවෙන්ම සුවිශේෂී ක්ලියර්මෙන් ලොබාන්ගේගේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ. දැන් ගෝල්ඩියෝ බොඩි ස්ප්‍රේ හඳුන්වා දෙන අලුත් මාදිලි හතරකින් බ්ලේස්, චැලෙන්ජ්, ස්ටෝම් සහ රේව්. අදම try කරන්න ගෝල්ඩියෝ බොඩි ස්ප්‍රේ පැය 24 පුරා.
Echo the voices of fun. Fashion inspired by emotion. Glitz, the fashion destination.